The soft, warm glow of Edison bulbs bathes the Bean and Brew Café in a gentle evening light. It's 2026 March 8th. The air hums with the low murmur of conversation and the rhythmic hiss of the espresso machine. Patrons are scattered among the small wooden tables, their faces illuminated by the cool light of their screens. A student hunches over a textbook and a laptop, furiously typing an essay. A couple shares a pair of earbuds, smiling at a video on their tablet. This is a familiar scene, a modern sanctuary where work, life, and leisure blend seamlessly. Work, life, leisure. The promise of free Wi-Fi. In the corner, a small black box with blinking green lights sits on a shelf. This is the cafe's router, the unassuming source of this digital convenience. For most people here, it is a symbol of trust. It is a utility, as expected, and as seemingly safe as the running water or the electricity. The network name, Bean and Brew Guest, appears automatically in their device settings. A single tap, and they are online. The internet is a vast, open road. Public Wi-Fi is the free on-ramp, but this convenience is a double-edged sword. It is a shared space, an open field, and not everyone in this field has good intentions. The very nature of this shared connection creates a vulnerability that most users never consider. Their data, their digital lives, travel through the air in invisible waves. It's a stream of information flowing from their devices to that blinking box in the corner. They trust that this stream is private. Their personal messages, their work, documents, their financial details. This trust is the foundation of their online activity. Yet this foundation is far more fragile than they believe. In a public space, that trust can be easily exploited by someone with the right tools and the wrong motives. The risk isn't some far-fetched cinematic fantasy involving complex government spyware. At a table near the window, a man sits alone. He looks utterly ordinary, perhaps a freelancer finishing up his day's work. He doesn't fit the Hollywood hacker stereotype. No black hoodie, no frantic typing, no glowing green screen. He blends into the cafe's ambient scenery perfectly. He opens a standard laptop. He places a small, palm-sized device next to it. Close-up, laptop screen showing simple hotspot software. Close-up, a small device like a Raspberry Pi or Wi-Fi Pineapple beside the laptop. To the casual observer, it could be a portable hard drive or a power bank. No one gives him a second glance. His actions are calm, deliberate, almost entirely unnoticeable. He is not here for coffee. He is here to set a trap. With a few clicks, he activates software on his laptop. The device beside it whirs to life, a faint LED glowing. He is not breaking into the cafe's network with brute force. He is creating a parallel network, a digital mimic. He configures his new, malicious hotspot with a name that is almost identical to the real one: Bean and Brew Guest Wi-Fi. Split screen, legitimate network name versus the mimicked name, highlighting the subtle difference. His device begins broadcasting the fraudulent Wi-Fi signal. The fake signal is often configured to be slightly stronger than the cafe's legitimate network. Smartphones, laptops, they are designed for convenience. They will often automatically connect to the strongest available signal, especially if it's an open network that doesn't require a password. One by one, new patrons arrive. Existing customers briefly lose and regain their connection. Their devices begin to connect to his trap. They see a familiar network name and assume it is safe. They have no idea their digital lifeline now runs directly through an adversary's computer. The attacker is not a shadowy villain from a movie. He is a real person exploiting a real-world vulnerability. The tools he uses are not secret government-grade weapons. They are readily available online, often for less than the cost of a new smartphone. This accessibility is what makes the threat so pervasive and so urgent. The barrier to entry is shockingly low. Anyone with a bit of technical curiosity and a disregard for the law can become a digital predator in a place as public as a coffee shop. The fake hotspot, technically known as an evil twin, is a surprisingly straightforward piece of deception. The attacker's laptop, the specialized device, impersonates a legitimate wireless access point. It broadcasts a signal with an SSID, the name you see in your Wi-Fi list, designed to fool you. Exact copy of the real SSID with free, Added SSID with guest added. Many devices are set to auto-reconnect, so they latch onto the evil twin without user interaction. Once a device connects, the attacker has a critical choice. To avoid suspicion, they must provide an internet connection. The malicious hotspot acts as a man in the middle. It takes the user's request for internet access, passes it to the real Café Wi-Fi, gets the response from the internet, then passes it back to the user. From the victim's perspective, everything works perfectly. Web pages load, emails send, videos stream. No lag, no error messages, nothing to signal something is wrong. That seamless experience is the trap's core. If it blocked internet access, users would notice and disconnect. By acting as a pass-through bridge, the attacker keeps victims connected and complacent. They are lulled into a false sense of security while their data flows through a digital choke point controlled by the attacker. With the victim's device now connected to the evil twin, the next phase begins. The attacker launches a program known as a packet sniffer. This software acts like a wiretap for the digital world. Every action you take online, loading a web page, sending a message, logging into an account, is broken down into tiny pieces of data called packets. These packets travel from your device through the attacker's hotspot and out to the internet. The packet sniffer intercepts and copies every single one of them, creating a complete record of the victim's online activity. It is a silent, invisible process. The attacker's screen fills with scrolling lines of code and text. This is the raw data stream from a victim's device. Much of it might be gibberish, a chaotic mess of encrypted information. Modern websites that use HTTPS, Hypertext Transfer Protocol Secure, encrypt the data within these packets, making them unreadable to prying eyes. This is a crucial layer of security. However, the trap is not so easily defeated. Not all data is encrypted, and even when it is, the attacker has other tricks up their sleeve. They are looking for the weak links in the chain of communication. The most vulnerable targets are websites' apps that still use the older, unencrypted HTTP protocol. When you log into a site using HTTP, your username and password are sent in plain text. In the attacker's packet sniffer, this information appears as clear as day. They can simply read it off the screen. User equals jane.doe@email.com, pass equals password 123. The same applies to private messages sent through older apps or information filled into unsecured web forms. The attacker simply has to watch the stream of data and pluck out these valuable nuggets of plain text as they float by. Even for secure HTTPS sites, the man-in-the-middle position offers powerful advantages. The attacker can attempt what is known as an SSL stripping attack. In this scenario, the attacker's hotspot intercepts your request to connect to a secure site, like your bank. It then establishes an unencrypted HTTP connection with your device while simultaneously creating a secure HTTPS connection with the bank's server. Your browser might not show the familiar padlock icon, but many users fail to notice this small but critical warning. You believe you are browsing securely, but the attacker is sitting in the middle, decrypting and reading all your traffic before re-encrypting it and sending it to the bank. A woman sitting across the cafe, a freelance graphic designer, opens her laptop. Her device, seeking the strongest signal, has unknowingly connected to the attacker's Bean and Brew guest Wi-Fi network. She needs to check for a client update, so she navigates to her webmail provider's login page. The page loads instantly. It looks completely normal. The right logo, the right colors, the right font. She doesn't notice the tiny missing padlock icon in her browser's address bar, a victim of the SSL stripping attack. She confidently types in her email address and her password, hitting enter without a second thought. On the attacker's screen, the packet sniffer instantly flags the prize. 2 lines of plain text appear in the deluge of data: her full email address, her complete unencrypted password. The attacker copies and pastes them into a simple text file. It took less than a second. He now possesses the master key to her digital life. He can wait until later, or he can act immediately. From his own device, he opens a new browser window, navigates to the same email provider, and enters the credentials he just stole. He is in. The implications are immediate and devastating. An email account is not just a tool for communication. It is the central hub for our online identity. The attacker now has access to years of her private correspondence. He can read messages from her clients, her family, her friends. He can see her financial statements, medical appointment reminders, personal photos she may have emailed to herself. More dangerously, he can search her inbox for the phrase password reset. Another man in the cafe decides to do some quick online banking. He has a few minutes before his next meeting and wants to transfer money to pay a bill. He connects to the fraudulent Wi-Fi. He types his bank's web address into his browser. This is where the man-in-the-middle attack becomes even more sinister. The attacker can serve the user a completely fabricated web page, a form of phishing, a pixel-perfect replica of the bank's login page. The fake page looks identical to the real one. Bank logo in the right place. Color scheme matches. Input fields for username and password are present. A subtle misspelling in the URL is the only difference. Or the HTTPS lock and the bank's name are missing. In a hurry, these details are easy to miss. The man trusts what he sees and enters his banking username. He enters his password. He may even answer a security question. He clicks the login button. The information does not go to the bank. It goes straight to the attacker's laptop, where it's saved. The attacker's script then does one of two things. The consequences are catastrophic. This is a direct line to the victim's money, not just indirect access like a stolen email. The attacker can initiate fraudulent transfers. The attacker can pay their own bills with the victim's funds. The attacker can gather account numbers and balances for deeper identity theft. The quiet man in the cafe has the power to drain someone's bank account, and the victim won't know until it's too late. To understand how to defend against these attacks, we need to listen to those who study them.
A cybersecurity expert, speaking in clear and direct terms, would emphasize that awareness is the first and most critical line of defense. The problem with public Wi-Fi is the public part, she might explain. You are sharing a network with strangers. You cannot verify identities or intentions. You cannot verify the network itself. The entire system operates on a foundation of unearned trust, and that is what attackers exploit.
She would break it down visually. Imagine your data is a letter you're sending in the mail, she'd say, perhaps sketching on a whiteboard. Using unencrypted HTTP is like sending that letter on a postcard. Anyone who handles it can read it. Using HTTPS is like putting that letter in an envelope. It's sealed. However, connecting to an evil twin hotspot is like handing your sealed envelope to a postal worker who is actually a spy. That spy can try to steam it open, read it, and seal it back up. Or they can just hand you a fake form to fill out instead of the one you asked for. The expert's core message would not be to abandon public Wi-Fi entirely, but to treat it with extreme caution. Never ever conduct sensitive transactions on public Wi-Fi without an additional layer of security, she would state firmly. This includes online banking, shopping, or logging into any critical account like your primary email. Save those activities for a trusted network, like your home or office, or use your phone's cellular data. This simple behavioral change, she would argue, eliminates a huge percentage of the risk. For situations where using public Wi-Fi is unavoidable, her primary recommendation would be unequivocal. Use a virtual private network, a VPN. A VPN is your personal encrypted tunnel through the public network. When you enable a trusted VPN service, it encrypts all the data leaving your device. This data travels through the cafe's Wi-Fi, even a malicious one, inside that secure tunnel. The attacker sniffing packets can only see the encrypted tunnel. They cannot see the postcards or envelopes inside. It makes your data unreadable and your activities private, even when the network itself is hostile. The attack doesn't end when the hacker closes his laptop and leaves the cafe. The data he has collected is a valuable commodity. He now has a list of usernames and passwords. He can sell this list on dark web marketplaces where other criminals buy them to commit fraud. A single email and password combination can be sold for a few dollars, while a verified banking login can fetch a much higher price. The attacker in the cafe may just be a harvester collecting credentials to be sold in bulk to others who will carry out the actual financial theft. The damage can also be reputational and personal. With access to a victim's email, social media, an attacker can impersonate them. They can send malicious links to all of the victim's contacts, exploiting their trust to spread the attack further. They can post embarrassing, harmful content, potentially damaging personal relationships or professional careers. In some cases, they might engage in extortion, threatening to release sensitive private information found in emails or cloud storage unless a ransom is paid. The violation goes far beyond a simple financial loss. Furthermore, the attacker's arsenal is bolstered by a common human failing: password reuse. Many people use the same password, slight variations of it, across multiple online services. When the attacker steals the password for a low-security forum, they will almost certainly try that same email and password combination on more valuable targets like Amazon, PayPal, Gmail. This attack, known as credential stuffing, is highly automated and extremely effective. A single, seemingly minor breach can domino into a complete compromise of a person's entire online presence. The hacker leaves the cafe, disappearing back into the anonymity of the city. The victims pack up their things, none the wiser. The woman whose email was compromised might not notice anything is wrong for days, until she finds herself locked out of her accounts. The man who entered his banking details on the fake page might not know until he gets a fraud alert from his bank, or worse, when he sees a zero balance in his account. The quiet crime committed in the cozy cafe has long-lasting and painful consequences that will take months or even years to fully untangle. The story of the cafe is a cautionary tale, but it is not a reason to live in digital fear. It is a call to action. You have the power to protect yourself by adopting a few fundamental security habits. These steps are simple, effective, and can transform you from an easy target into a well-defended user. The goal is not to be unhackable. Given enough time and resources, any system can be broken, but to be secure enough that an attacker will move on to an easier victim. Your digital shield is built with diligence and good practice. First, always verify the network. Before connecting, ask an employee for the exact name of the official cafe Wi-Fi. Be suspicious of networks with similar names, open networks that require no password, or any network your device connects to unexpectedly. Second, look for the lock. When browsing any website, especially one that requires a login, always check the browser's address bar for HTTPS and the padlock symbol. If it is missing, do not enter any personal information. Click away immediately. Third, and most critically for public Wi-Fi, use a virtual private network, a VPN. A reputable VPN service creates an encrypted tunnel for all your internet traffic, making it unreadable to anyone snooping on the network. Turn it on every single time you connect to a network you do not own and control, whether it's at a cafe, airport, or hotel. This single tool defeats the vast majority of man-in-the-middle and packet-sniffing attacks. It is the digital equivalent of drawing the blinds in a glass house. Finally, practice good password hygiene. Use strong, unique passwords for every single one of your accounts. A password manager can help you generate and store these complex passwords securely. Enable two-factor authentication wherever it is offered, especially on your email, banking, and social media accounts. This requires a second code, usually from your phone, to log in, meaning a thief with just your password is still locked out. Public Wi-Fi is a useful tool, but it is a wild, untrusted environment. By taking these deliberate, conscious steps, you can enjoy the convenience without sacrificing your security. Be aware, be prepared, and stay safe.